Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Isman, and I am the Movement Politics Director with Rights and Democracy, New Hampshire. So happy to see everyone. And we're gonna first start off with a land acknowledgement. So let's begin with that. Rights and Democracy acknowledges the Abenaki peoples as the traditional land caretakers of Endokina, which includes parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, New England, and Quebec. As guests on the unceded territory of Abenaki peoples, we honor their ancestors, elders, relations past and present and emerging. We also acknowledge that our nation has benefited from the uncompensated and exploited labor represented in the legacy of slavery and the present day reality of migrant farm workers. I'd like to thank everyone today for coming out. And if you are watching this later, after our recording, we thank you for watching. I know there are some people who can't make it this time, but want to support, and will be watching this later when you can, so thank you. A little bit about Rights and Democracy. Rights and Democracy is a member-led people's organization with member-led chapters throughout New Hampshire and Vermont. Our mission is to shift the political landscape through electoral and community organizing to ensure the values and the needs of our communities guide the policies of our government. We do that by building a movement that advances human rights, dismantles economic inequality, racism, and sexism, and we organize to build a more just and equitable economy and society. And at RAD, we believe that we can make those values real if they're actually represented in the halls of government. And that is why we're so committed to electing movement champions. We've done lots of work over the years, and we've watched around the country the exciting movement leaders who ran for and won their offices. Often those victories were backed by the Working Families Party. So this year we started to talk to them about how we can collaborate in New Hampshire with the Working Families Party to make a bigger and deeper impact in this fall's elections. So we're so excited to announce the New Hampshire Working Family Party's PAC, which is the result of the collaboration, and to get to work basically for these exciting candidates that you will meet tonight. I'd like to introduce Georgia Hollister Isman. She is the New England Regional Director for Working Families Party, and we've already had a lot of time together figuring out and moving the needle for these great candidates with support. So let's please welcome Georgia.
Thanks, Asma. I am so excited to be here with all of you, even in a virtual space, and look forward to being with you all in New Hampshire for real this fall. Just want to say a word about Working Families Party. We're a national political party. We're trying to create this big, giant, ambitious thing, an independent political home for the multiracial working class that really represents our shared values here and RAD's shared values in a way that neither of the major parties does. We're serious about that big and bold vision, but we've built it mostly through the kinds of state and local elections that we're talking about here, helping terrific movement champions run.
Oh, we can't hear you. Are you still there, Georgia?
She's still here, but frozen.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm back. I was talking to my dead internet there for a minute. It was really inspiring, guys. Where did you lose me?
About 30 seconds ago.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I don't know what is going on. So we're trying to build this big, ambitious national political party, but our bread and butter is really campaigns like the ones you're going to hear about tonight. Terrific movement leaders running for state and local office. And that is where we find this sweet spot between the big values of our dreams and races that we coming together with people and people's organizations like RAD can win and can change the direction of governments. We've never had a presence in New Hampshire before, so we're really excited to be here and be in this project with RAD and to build something together. Our commitment and frankly our joy has deepened as we've worked with Isman and Isaac and others and met these wonderful local heroes who you're going to hear from tonight. You all are exactly the kind of people we care about running and winning and holding and wielding power, not just in New Hampshire, but in the United States of America. So we're really thrilled to be launching the NHWF PPAC, and we're really excited to get down into the nitty gritty with all of you and get some campaigns across the finish line.
Yes, let's get some snapping going. Yes, thank you so much. This has been definitely a wonderful collaboration thus far, and there's definitely more to come, so stay tuned. And now, without further ado, let's meet some of our endorsed movement candidates. I see someone smiling big here. I'm gonna say their name, and if you're one of the candidates that I say your name, make sure when you hear your name, let us know what you're running for and your location. So basically just your what you're running for and your location. So we'll do this maybe in alphabetical order. And the first one is Abe. And so Anthony Harris, please let us know, what are you running for and what location?
I am running for Alderman at Large for the city of Manchester.
Awesome, thank you so much. Jody Newell.
Whoop, whoop.
I am running for Counselor at Large in Keene, New Hampshire.
Nice.
New Hampshire.
Nicole Klein Knight.
Nicole has to work tonight. She's representing the working class, so she can.
That's right. That's right. All the love. Cannot be here doing the stuff. All right. Robin Vogt. And Robin Vogt can't be here, but I do believe we have a statement that Isaac will put in the chat from him. So definitely read this wonderful statement. And Robin is running for Portsmouth City Council. So just for everyone to know. And then we got, let's see who's next. Reagan Lanphier.
Hi, I'm Regan. I'm from Nashua and I'm running for the Board of Education.
Awesome. Nice. And then we got Chris Potter. Chris Potter could not be here today. We also have a statement from Chris Potter, which we will put in the chat. So if Isaac, if you could put that in the chat, that would be amazing. And then we also have Palana Hunt Hawkins. Palana.
Hey. Hey, it's Palana, she, her, and I'm running for mayor of Rochester, and I'm in my car in Rochester.
Yes.
With my red tie. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. I want to make sure I didn't forget anyone. Let's see. I think we got our candidates who, yeah, I think so. Isaac, let me know if I forgot anyone, and I will make sure we come back and say their names. So, and we're also going to be sharing links for people to follow. So if you're one of those candidates, go ahead and share your Act Blue link. We want to make sure we support our movement champions. So please do donate if you can. You do not have to live in the city. We know that these are movement champions, and so we would love to support them. So definitely put in your Act Blue accounts in the chat for everyone to support. Thank you. And next, we're going to hear from a few of our endorsed candidates as well. All of our endorsed candidates are awesome, and we wish we had time to hear from every single one of them. You've already met some a second ago, and now we'll be hearing from just a few. If you'd like to ask a question of any of these candidates who speak, please share it in the chat, and we'll have time to take some questions from the audience. So we're going to start off. So happy to introduce Jordan Thompson, who is candidate of Nashua, Ward 6 Alderman. Jordan has been a Nashua, yes. Jordan has been a Nashua resident since his teenage years. And as a young person, it's pretty amazing the leadership he's already shown there and really across the state as well. So Jordan has been working to transform the nation's child welfare system as a member of the National Foster Youth Institute since 2017. He's worked for presidential primary campaigns. He has co-led intersectional justice trainings with RAD and now works as a racial justice organizer with the ACLU. He is also the leader of Black Lives Matter Nashua, and consistently and always a fearless voice for justice in our state. So Jordan, so happy, so excited you have joined us tonight and that you're running for local office. Can you please tell us a little bit about your background and why you decided to run and how you see your candidacy as part of a broader movement?
Yes, thank you, Asma. I am just so grateful to be here. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm so excited about running. I'm excited about some of the amazing candidates that we have on here: Jody, Crystal, Polana, Anthony, Regan. So thank you so much for having me. I wrote down what I have to say because if you know me, you know that I can talk forever. And I know that we're trying to be respectful of people's time. So a little bit about me. My name is Jordan Thompson, and I'm running for alderman in Nashua's Ward 6. I'm a writer, community organizer, and a proud Nashua resident. My background is that I was born here in 1998. I moved to Hartford, Connecticut in 1999, where I was raised, but ultimately returned to Nashua in 2011. I spent my teenage years here in New Hampshire's child welfare system, where I lived at the Nashua Children's Home until I aged out into adulthood. I went to Pennachuck Middle, Nashua North, and Nashua Community College. After aging out of foster care, I realized that I had a strong passion for public service. I joined the National Foster Youth Institute in 2017 to help transform the lives of foster youth across the country through policy reform. I ran for moderator in the New Hampshire House of Representatives in 2018 on a People First platform. I've worked with Mayor Donch's My Brother's Keeper initiative to organize our city's first Juneteenth and Black History Month celebrations. I've been a member of the Nashua Community Conversation on Race and Justice for several years now. I worked as an organizer in Nashua for Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign, and now I'm a racial justice organizer, the first racial justice organizer for the American Civil Liberties Union of New Hampshire. All in all, I'm a hardworking, passionate progressive, and I care very deeply about my community. I'm not motivated by power, influence, or desire to make a career out of politics. I'm running because I believe we have a unique opportunity in this critical moment to address the needs of our people and to move our city forward. I know what it's like to worry about where your next meal will come from, how you're going to afford the cost of quality education, and if you're going to make rent this month. Economic insecurity is a policy problem, and we need policy solutions. Whether we're dealing with Nashua's lack of affordable housing, the opioid crisis, or any other issue, we need leaders who have lived experience tackling these issues to lead. I've had the privilege of calling Nashua my home for the last 10 years. A lot has changed since I first moved here in the summer of 2011, and we've certainly come a long way as a city. I'm confident that our brightest days are still ahead of us. I'm running for alderman in Nashua because I want to solve problems, not create them. I want to help elevate our most vulnerable populations, immigrants, Black and brown people, people with disabilities, the working class, and more. Most of all, I want to move the city forward into a future that is safer, more welcoming, and more equitable for everyone who calls Nashua their home. I'm really grateful for this opportunity to speak to all of you tonight, and I'm so grateful for all of the work that both Rights and Democracy and the Working Families Party have done to move our country forward. And I'm just so happy to be here tonight. Thank you. And go all of the amazing candidates on this panel tonight. I'm so happy for all of you, and I'm ready to win this.
Yes. Yes.
Can we all come off mute and just give it up for that? And then we got to go back on mute.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Leaders with lived experience. Yes, it's about time. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and look at the chat. Isaac, are there any questions in the chat? If you have a question for Jordan that you would like answered, please ask it in the chat, and I'll have Isaac take the questions and Jordan answer them.
Yep, nothing yet. So if anyone has anything that's burning, please put it in the chat, and we can always come back to it as well. So
Awesome.
yeah, I'll keep
Okay,
you posted.
so Isaac, definitely drop Jordan's Act Blue, because
Yep.
we need to support our candidates. So we definitely want to donate. We can't just support by mouth and cheering, which is great, but he needs money, and he doesn't need it for himself. He needs it for us, so we can get him in office and he can do the work. There's things to pay for, like mailers, etc. Awesome, thank you. Our next speaker, thank you
Just
so
real
much.
quick, maybe we could do it right now. I just there was a question from Gloria Timmons that just asked for Jordan to clarify his position regarding police reform. Great question.
Yeah, I appreciate the question. I have been taken to task by a lot of folks on the right for my position because of my organizing with Black Lives Matter over the past year and a half now. And I want to just state very clearly that my position is I am in this race for people. I'm not in this race to be against anyone. I am in this race to be for people. And when it comes to the police, they are a taxpayer-funded entity. They need to be justifying their budgets just like every other taxpayer-funded entity has to justify theirs. And that is my position. So I hope that clears things up.
Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. You are for the people. Thank you so much. Our next speaker, so excited to introduce y'all to Crystal Parody. Is it Paradis?
Parody.
Paradise. It could be paradise. She's about to bring paradise, y'all. Is Paradis? Okay.
Parody.
Yeah. Parody. Thank you. Okay. So we'd like to introduce Crystal Parody, our endorsed candidate for mayor of Somersworth. Crystal has been a builder of bridges and community in that area for over 2 decades and currently serves Somersworth as a city councilor at large. In 2018, she founded an organization called Feminist Oasis to cultivate community around intersectional feminist values and explore how we can advance systemic justice. She is the director of strategic communications and community engagement at New Hampshire's Women's Foundation and serves on the board of SOS Recovery Community Organization. Awesome. To name just a few of the many hats that Crystal wears. Crystal, thank you so much for joining us today. And can you tell us a little bit about your background and why you decided to run and how you see your candidacy part of the broader movement?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Isman. Thank you so much to all of the amazing organizers who brought this together and my fellow candidates tonight. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about my background in these little moments. So my first moment of being civically engaged was voting. And I remember distinctly going into the voting booths, and this was in I believe the 2004 election. So I turned 18 in 2001. My first time voting was in the 2004 elections. And I remember going in with a t-shirt, and I will say this very carefully, that said Buck Fush on it. And I don't really remember when I diverged from my family's very conservative, religious, Republican-leaning upbringing to that point. I just know that I was working 2 and 3 jobs, and the only awareness I had of politics was presidential politics. And when I had a lot of these working class jobs and met a lot of people who had information around politics, it was really about being anti-militaristic and supporting the working class people. A few years later, I'd say almost 10 years later, I was working in a position supporting public health in Hawaii, and I was faxing testimony to the Hawaii State House from our executive director of that organization. And I was asking, like, does this actually do anything? Does this go anywhere? Who reads a fax anyway? And she was like, no, even if the representative that gets this is already supporting our position, if you have something in your hand that's from a constituent, it gives you backup. So it helps them to argue on the floor for that position. A few years later, I went and testified myself when I had moved back to Portsmouth to try to keep free parking as a barista. The municipal lot was the only place that I could park when I got there at 5:30 in the morning for my opening shift. And then a couple years after that, I was organizing, knocking on doors during the coordinated campaign in 2016. And just remembering like actual conversations with people who I know before I knocked on their door, they either weren't going to vote or they weren't going to vote for my candidate. And when I left, I was pretty sure that they were going to vote for my candidate, and just seeing those razor thin margins that really, really made a difference. And now I'm an elected person. I serve on the city council. We were able to get our dog park opened within my first year on council, which was my tent post issue, and the world's first little Indonesia here in Somersworth as well. I would say my candidacy, it's urgent. You know, my slogan is Somersworth can't wait. I'm running against an incumbent who's asking the community for 2 more years. And we are about to start a 10-year master plan that I think needs to be led by someone with a more forward-thinking vision, not somebody who's looking to just sort of tie up some loose ends. And I'm running, my candidacy is also necessary. I think my candidacy is necessary to restore public trust. It's very much still a good old boys club in Somersworth. We have a mayor who also serves as an assistant superintendent. So there's a lot of conflict of interest there with voting on your own salary, to name a few things. And just a lack of responsiveness. A lot of people have said they've sent in messages to the full council and mayor, and at times I've been the only one to respond. I also want my candidacy to be inspiring, and I'm not saying that because I think I am inspiring. I'm saying that because my goal is to inspire. My end goal, my why, is to inspire the folks of Somersworth to claim agency on shaping their own future, to inspire other people to run for office so that our elected leaders look more like the communities that we're serving, and to apply to be on our many boards and commissions. And I'll say a shout out to my good friend Jules Good, who's running for select person. Another thing I've been talking a lot about is, if you're not up to running for like a city council or a school board that takes a lot of time, running for an election seat like a moderator, a ward clerk, a select person is like a 1 day a year commitment where you can make huge impact on our democracy. So I'm a renter, I'm a woman, I grew up poor and food insecure, I'm queer, I don't have a college degree, I have deep experience working multiple jobs, and I bring all of that lived experience into my work and public service. And I think that in order to ensure our collective progressive movement makes it from the streets and the tweets into our city halls and our budgets, we are the ones that have to step up and lead. So I'm so grateful to be in this movement with all of y'all, and I look forward to winning in November.
Wow, thank you. All right. Yeah, first get off mute. I'm gonna do the Isaac thing right now. Get off mute.
Yeah, Crystal.
Bye, Crystal.
Hey, Maria.
Crystal, I loved your from the streets to the tweets, and hopefully you'll be in the seat.
Oh, Asma, rewrite. I'm rewriting that line. That's amazing.
I had to. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. Again, another affected community member. We need you. Somersworth needs you. Really, New Hampshire needs you, because this has a wave effect on all of our states. So thank you so much. If there's any questions for Crystal, please put them in the chat. Isaac, of course, will let us know what they are. And then we can, are there any questions, Isaac? Do you see any?
Not that I have seen yet.
Okay.
I did paste the link to Crystal's
group.
donation page
Nice.
and her social media and her website. So go to those. And if you do have a question, oh, I see one here. Okay, Jim Townsend. Crystal, you said there's a conflict of interest. Oh, sorry, I'm not sure which thing that is about because I've been like multitasking. Sorry, but it says, you say there's a conflict of interest, but hasn't there been several legal rulings that there isn't one? And maybe you can remind people like me who might have missed the context.
Yeah, absolutely. So our current mayor is also currently the assistant superintendent. When he was serving on our city council in 2008, he introduced a resolution to change the city charter so that a school employee is no longer prohibited from running for mayor. And he changed that, and then he ran for mayor. So he kind of got that rule changed so that there technically is not a legal conflict, as comes from the opinion of one city lawyer. And the city lawyer this year basically repeated what he said back in 2008, which did not state that there was no conflict of interest. It stated that there was nothing in our charter that explicitly prohibited him from running, but that certainly the appearance by the public of a conflict of interest, being that he presides over the city council that approves the budget that he also creates, which includes his own salary and benefits, certainly, as the lawyer said twice, may appear to create a conflict of interest that voters may be concerned about, and basically said, it doesn't look like we can bar you from being on the ballot, but that's sort of up to the people. So I think restoring public trust means, I can certainly commit that I'm never going to vote on my own salary and my own benefits. So there certainly are lawyers who have said this is a conflict of interest, but again, our city attorney has said, kind of leave it up to the voters.
There's a conflict of interest, Crystal. I'm sorry to say, but that's clear. But okay, let's leave it to the voters and make sure we get out to the polls to let them know there's a conflict of interest. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We put your Act Blue in the chat. Thank you. Our next speaker, yes, okay. Our next speaker is Jody Newell. Jody Newell is a long time, yes, go ahead. Share the happiness, the joy. We know we're excited about it. Jody Newell is a longtime Keene resident, a mother of two, a homeless advocate, and a member of Rights and Democracy's statewide leadership committee and our healthcare and overdose crisis leadership teams. Having been raised in a family shaped by service to community, Jody has carried this tradition forward, in part by formally working in the nonprofit world at the Transitional Housing Shelter for single mothers and families that was founded by her grandmother. So I see this is just in the genes right here. So Jody, thank you so much for stepping up to run for office. I know this wasn't easy for you to do this year. And on top of all the amazing organizing that you are already doing with Rights and Democracy, can you tell us a little bit about your background, why you decided to run, and how you see your candidacy as part of the broader movement?
Sure. So what really kind of got me into politics in the first place was just about 13 years ago. It was it'll be 13 years Christmas Eve. My children's father and my partner passed away. He had battled with substance use disorder, and it ultimately took his life. And so that kind of got me off my butt, right? After I went through that kind of grieving process, kind of looking into, how is it that, everybody was shocked. If Corey could be lost to this, anybody could, right? So it got me onto this, wanting to understand substance use disorder, wanting to understand how the treatments that we had and the approach that we have, how that affects people. And how we can ultimately save lives, right? So I've seen personally in my own life, and especially dealing with, my children, being there for my children, and kind of seeing the fallout in all directions that someone being lost to substance use disorder has in many ways. And so that's kind of what got me into politics in the first place, right? In a serious way. Obviously, I think I had kind of paid attention. Totally resonated with me, Crystal, when you're talking about diverging from your parents' very, conservative perspective and things like that. I'm sad to say I voted for George Bush in 2004, but anyway, I'm a reformed. Anyway, but that got me kind of looking into things and really wanting to understand how the policies that we make affect people's everyday lives, right? And so I saw how it had affected my life and how it had affected Corey, and then that got me kind of, pulling threads, which led me to addressing money in politics, got very involved in that. For 5 years, I was in the national leadership of an organization called Wolfpack, trying to get a constitutional amendment to address the issue of money in politics. And so that was something that, I just stepped down from. It's kind of coincidentally took that, load off of myself. And then this came up. At this time, of course, what we're dealing with is we're seeing kind of the settlements coming down from the overdose crisis that was spurred by Big Pharma and many of these manufacturing companies and even consulting, McKinsey and things like that. And so they're now being held financially responsible. And so there's going to be this money that's going to be allocated to help people who are dealing with substance use disorder and really address the problem. And so I found that right now is a time when my voice could actually, and my experience, not only my experience, I believe the people who are closest to the problem are closest to the solution, not only my experience, but also I've, reached out to with RAD and, as a project, reaching out to all these substance use people in the recovery community around the state. And so what I really like to do with my role there is to be a voice for people who are dealing with the issue and bring those people into the conversation as we're deciding how that money should be allocated. And so that's why now, I guess. But of course, there are other things, especially in the fallout from COVID-19, that, we're really going to be dealing with a lot of recovery in Keene. And I'd really like to be a part of the solution.
Thank you so much. Get off chat, everyone. This took a lot for her to really do. So let's get off chat. I mean, sorry. Yeah, get off chat. If you're on chat, you shouldn't be on chat. Let's go on this chat. And let's give it up for Jody.
Yeah, Jody.
Yes. Super excited you stepped up. Jody, we're going to put your Act Blue in the chat because we need to donate, not for you, but for us, because when you get in, you're helping all of us. Thank you so much. Yes. So I would love to hear, so we're a little early, which is great because we have other movement champions on here that only were able to just tell you two things, which is what they're running for and their location. Can we just have literally maybe 3 sentences more about you, if we can, for our movement champions? So the ones I called out earlier, I'm just gonna really fast just say your name. If you can get back on the screen and just tell us a little bit more about you, if that's okay. So let's see if we have everyone here still or no. Well, we have Anthony. So Anthony and Reagan, yes. So let's start with Anthony. Anthony, can you get on if you're not in the bathroom? Can you tell us 2 words, Anthony, about your candidacy, and then I'll pass it to Reagan. Just 2 or 3 sentences.
Yes. So I'm running for alderman at large because I want to see a better community where each one of us feels supported and prideful with a sense of belonging, that this is our home, regardless of who we are, regardless of religion we follow, race, color, or creed.
Thank you so much, Anthony. If you're in Manchester, make sure you vote for Anthony at large. Yes. Your Act Blue, Anthony. Put it in the chat. Awesome.
Yes, I placed my Act Blue in their account.
Awesome.
In their account. In the chat.
We're gonna put the money in the account. Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And Reagan. Or is it Regan? I'm sorry. I'm very, very bad at pronouncing names.
That's okay. It's close. It's close. So I'm running for Board of Education, and my story is kind of, in a way, similar to Jody's. I was never really too involved in politics or anything. I was raised in my family, and I had a son who was disabled, and he passed away. And I was like, oh my God, this is, so many people worked so hard to make life better for him before he was even born by passing like FMLA and the ADA and stuff like that. So I just wanted to find a way to give back. I wanted to change the world too. And I hope someday to run for office. And I thought it was going to be a few years down the road, but the time is now. They needed candidates, and they needed a candidate like me. So here I am.
Whoop, whoop.
Thank you. Yes. Is there any other candidate that's still on? I don't think so, right, Isaac?
I think that is all of them. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna clear a little space for my brother Isaac, who's gonna let us know how you can get involved in some, because yes, some people can give money and everyone can give money, even if it's $2, $5, everyone can give a little bit. Right? So if we can donate, but apart from donating, there are things you can actually do to get our people in, because we need our people in. So Isaac, let us know, what can we do to support our candidates?
All right. Well, being here is a great start. Thank you, everyone who's with us. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. So we have a sign up link that I've just added into the chats, and I will also add that onto the Facebook live stream for folks. So this is a really good way to let us know who you're the most excited about getting involved in their campaign. There are a bunch of ways for us to help out the candidates, right? And the biggest things that we can be doing are getting out there and knocking doors with them, helping make phone calls for them, donating to their campaigns, and helping get other people to donate to their campaigns. And then it varies a little bit by campaign, but there are, I'm sure, great opportunities to host your own local house parties, bring friends together and talk about the candidates, get other people excited, right? Everything we can do, like the door knocking, the phone calling, the donating, all that is critical. But as we all know, like we can make our impact way more exponentially large when we get a lot of other people doing it, and then we're trying to get those other people to be doing the same thing we're doing, right? And then it builds out from there. So make sure that you're getting involved with the candidate you're the most excited about. Make sure you're signing up in that sign up form that I just shared in the chat. I'm gonna share it again. And something I want to just name, there are a few canvases coming up this weekend. The earliest election that's happening of our endorsed candidates is actually the primary for Manchester Board of Aldermen at large. There are a number of people running in that primary, big uphill battle. So we are looking at a primary race for that, it's like down to the wire here. This is next Tuesday, right? So this weekend, we need you to go knock doors for Nicole Klein Knight. We need you to go knock doors for Anthony Harris. I'm going to be popping the details and links to those two canvases in the chat here. We'll send a follow-up email with all this information as well, in case there's anything you miss. But we're down to the wire here on that race. Everything else, we're looking at the first Tuesday of November is when we got our elections, unless you're in Franklin, which is October, because Franklin is an outlier. So biggest ways you can get involved, right? Sign up in that sign up form right now. Sign up to Canvas, get out there and knock doors this weekend, and get yourself more involved, right? Like some of these campaigns, they already have like a great volunteer team. There's volunteers you can connect with. Some of them, they need some, dedicated folks who can be part of their core team. So we're at all different places here, but everybody here needs support big time. I saw a message from Maria. Maria asked, she just messaged to me in the Zoom chat if she could ask a question to the candidates. You mean to every candidate that's here, Maria, or?
Yeah, I would love to ask the candidates, what are they wanted, or we can expect them for our new immigrants coming to New Hampshire. We're trying to be more welcoming and more inclusive at the state, but I wonder what can you tell us you're gonna do, especially if we get Afghanistan refugees in New Hampshire. English probably not be the first language, and then we have to respect their culture. How can we integrate them and make them feel welcome into our state, into our culture here?
That's a great question. I would love if each of us could give a brief, each of the candidates could give a brief answer to that. And one other thing, just real quick, I'm gonna name Crystal Parody also has a canvas this weekend. So you can sign up as a volunteer on her website, and there I will paste the Facebook event for that in the chat in a moment. But why don't we go, since I was just naming Crystal, why don't we go Crystal, Jordan, Jody, and Anthony, Regan, right? And everyone, if you want to just share a few thoughts as to how in each of our cities we can really be leading on making our communities more welcoming for new Americans.
Absolutely. So we have a wonderful and very successful model of doing that here in Somersworth with our Indonesian community. So we have the largest Indonesian community here in the Tri-Cities north of New York City. And, Somersworth is now home to the world's first Little Indonesia, which is not just a cultural center of cool stuff you can buy and information you can learn about. It's also an active food pantry. So they have a specific relationship with Gather, where they get food that is specific to, food that Indonesians typically cook and make. And so every couple of weeks, there's a huge food delivery there, and they're able to bring it to families that they know that are looking for, need food. We also have a staff there that translates into Bahasa and various other Indonesian languages, recruiting information for various large employers in the area. And they specifically go out and meet with people to see what sorts of employees they need. And then they go back to their communities and they talk to people that need jobs. That's been a really successful model. And I think coming out really strongly, and since I'm running for mayor, you are basically the mouthpiece for the community community, coming out very strongly and saying we welcome immigrants here, we love immigrants here, and making sure that we make those correct connections so that we have whatever translation services we need, we know what type of food we need, we know what sort of housing we need to set up for them. That can only make our community stronger. And I think making sure that we get that message out there is really important.
That was a great answer. Thank you, Representative Perez, for the question. As you know, Nashua is the most diverse community in the state of New Hampshire, and we deal with this issue often. But first and foremost, we need leaders who actually believe that people who come here from other communities belong here and work every day to make sure that those people feel like they belong here. Unfortunately, in the city of Nashua, over the past couple of years, we have had people in positions of power who do not believe that. We've had just community residents who have fed into xenophobia and other really dark things that make people feel unwelcome. And so we need to make it clear that immigrants are welcome here. But once they are here, we need to make sure that they have access to adequate housing. We need to make sure that they have access to living wages at jobs that are full of dignity. We can work with our small business community here in order to make that happen. We need to have resources that are in their language, resources that they can understand. We need to build on the work of the Cultural Connections Committee here in the city of Nashua to continue to foster this environment that is welcoming. We need to make sure that the police department here is aware of cultural customs and that they are informed about how to work with people from immigrant communities, how to interact with them, because their interactions with police in their home country may be very different than their interactions here. And we need to encourage these folks to get involved civically. But before we can do all of that, we need to build trust. We need to build trust between the folks that are coming here, the immigrants, and those that are already here. And I think there's a lot that we can do. So I really appreciate the question, and I hope I've answered it.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, it's hard to add on because I feel like you guys have covered a whole lot as far as what we need to do. Keene, I mean, there are certain things that I'm just super proud of Keene for in the first place. A couple of years ago, we had a major showing at council meetings and things like that to get a resolution passed that is, made it essentially a sanctuary city. It's just kind of basically saying unless you absolutely have to do, absolutely have to enforce something, the police would not. It didn't actually change the laws, but it did kind of give a directive for it, for the police. And so that we had, hundreds of people, voicing their support for this resolution. It was really good to see that passed. So it's one of the things that I'm proud of Keene for what they're doing. And I think essentially there needs to be more oversight in the, to kind of follow up on those things and actually to encourage people to, be welcome. So I think that we've heard a lot of really great ideas from the other candidates. And this is something that honestly, I'd like to look more into exactly what we can be doing in Keene on a local level to make people feel welcome and things like that. So I hope that's a satisfactory answer.
All right, who was gonna go next? Anthony and then Regan? Or
Am I
Regan,
next? Yeah.
Regan, go for it, yeah.
So the first thing is that the Nashua School District has had some weaknesses in its English language learners program. And so that needs to be shored up, it needs to be strengthened. That's an important thing to work towards. And the other thing I was thinking was that, since there already are so many immigrants in Nashua, we should really make an effort to reach out to them and say what worked for them, what made them feel welcome when they came. Instead of starting from scratch, build on the experience we already have. And that would also help to make our immigrant community stronger, because then we'd have immigrants from all different places working together to welcome specifically people from Afghanistan. So.
Thank you. Anthony, would you like to go next?
Hello again. I'm pretty much going to echo what everybody else said. Focus on putting forth awareness and making sure that we open our arms and be welcome into any and everybody that comes here, from from immigrants to people who just moving into our city from another state. You know, I think Manchester is the second diverse city in the state. There's a big immigration population here from Africa, a lot of the refugees. You know, there's a lot of programs already that's implemented, and we just work to improve the programs that are already implemented here, and create new and innovative programs to bring everybody together, you know, so that we can make sure that we're understanding, we're looking at everyone through the lens of love and understanding. You know, we may not know what your culture is about, but we open our arms to you and we're willing to learn.
Nice, thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Thanks everyone for your thoughtful answers. And I just love how the questions from folks who are interested, folks who are already involved, really, I think helps just bring out the amazing ideas people have, and also gets candidates a chance to think about issues sometimes that they haven't already, and a chance to learn. Like running for office, especially for the first time, is a huge learning and growing process. And a lot of folks are running for the first time, which is a courageous thing to do, and it's amazing. So just hats off to y'all for stepping up and doing this. Why don't we got one more question, which was for Crystal from Gloria Timmons. I'm gonna put that out there, and then we'll do a last call to action, and then we're gonna close. So just to read this out, Gloria Timmons for Crystal Parody, do you have adequate housing in your city to accommodate new immigrants, along with affordable housing and all support for the new residents?
Yeah, so great question, Gloria. Thanks for bringing that up. So affordable and accessible housing is one of the biggest challenges I think that we face in the whole state and multi-state region. So the answer is yes, but. So yes, we do currently have pretty good affordable housing in Somersworth. It's one of the things that brought me back here 5 years ago, but we need to take action really, really quickly in order to keep it that way. So I've been calling on our mayor for over a year to form a housing task force, because we've had local and workforce of affordable housing experts that have told us there are things that we can do in order to protect, and we're seeing it like disappear so quickly. So there are things like building new units, obviously number one. I mean, the state of New Hampshire needs 11,500 new units, or maybe 13,000, whatever, in the teens, many of thousands of 500 new units in the state of New Hampshire by I think 2023, in order to address the affordable housing crisis and homelessness, which goes hand in hand with that. It's also our zoning. So we need more inclusive zoning that allows, currently we have several neighborhoods that are limited to single family only zoning. And of course, a lot of that is rooted in classism and racism as well. But we need to add in things like multifamily accessory dwelling units, condoization of these big, single family homes. Currently, they have to go in front of the Zoning Board of Adjustments to get a variance in order to split it up for the types of units that can stay affordable right now. So there's a lot of things like that we need to do to act quickly in order to protect a relatively affordable housing market within Somersworth.
Thank you, Crystal. So Georgia, our friend from Working Families Party, had a few other remarks to share, and then I'm going to close this out. So Georgia, why don't you take it away?
Just wanted to say, I hope it's clear to all of you why we're so excited about these folks. And this is what's great about WFP. We get to work with candidates like this all across the country. And we're so excited to be here in New Hampshire and with this particular crew, both the organizers of RAD and all of you, and these just amazing candidates. It's been really wonderful to get to know them a little bit, and we look forward to continuing to throw down, which we'll do in the traditional ways that you'll see in front of the house through mail and talking to voters and raising money and all of that, and then also some things that are sort of like boring and behind the scenes and about data and technology, but help campaigns run better and get to the place they need to be to win. So really excited to be here, and really excited for the work that's coming over the next few days before the Manchester primary and weeks before the November election. So really excited to be here with all of you.
All right, us too. Let's remember there's a sign up link in the Zoom chat here. If you're listening on Facebook, I'm gonna post that there in 2 seconds. Sign up. We need you involved. I hope you're all as excited about these candidates as I am. I want everybody before we close to come off mute and let's all get loud. Let's all just show them how much love and support they have. Everybody come off mute. Let's put it together for the
Yeah.
Thank you, candidates. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Have a great night.
No, no.
Kings and queens, God bless you all.
Bye, y'all.
I'll see you on the trail.
Yeah.
I did want to say Thursday,